All right. How are we going to do 5 people on a panel? This is going to be tough. We're going to try, though. So I'd like to start with community. When we talk about mission-focused brands, community plays a large role. I'm curious, how do you guys think about community and what that means to your brand and growing community and staying authentic to your brands?
I'll start. I'm Stanley from CW Hemp. You might know us as Charlotte's Web, based in Colorado. Community is everything to us in our company. We're a family-based business, which starts with that, but really our industry and our company wouldn't exist if it wasn't for our community. So those that don't know about our industry, it's the hemp industry that is sort of coming into the dietary supplement industry as a new industry. And before 2014, there was no such thing. So the communities, that have you seen them around? New York is one of the states. Their laws are changing, and that's being done not just by our group, but the people that take our products. So community is everything for us, and giving back to it and making the products that we make. So,
if I can say how, well. Hi, my name is Fatima Sabah. I'm from Kuwait, and I'm the co-founder of Prismologie. Prismologie is a body care line that my mother and I created to encourage people to use the mood-enhancing powers of color in their everyday life through a body care regime. To us, we are, I'm going to change my answer to your question. It's not going to be exactly about how community supports us, but how we are trying to create a community that is encouraging everyone to embrace the well-being aspects of color therapy or any type of gemstone therapy so that you can improve your life. We are living very stressful lives in these days. We're all in a rush. We're not managing our stress well enough. And so why not use something that can complement your day and add to it instead of just rushing and, boosting yourself with caffeine just so you can get going. So this is the plan for our brand, and this is what we are trying to do, is to create a community that cares about themselves but also nurtures well-being.
I would add one thing. It's interesting when we were thinking about mission and community for us, we were thinking about who our customer was and realized, and I think this is very true for mission-based businesses, it's really important that you align that your company is the mission as opposed to a tack-on of a mission. So one of the things I liked that's worked really well for us when we started Smarty Pants, we considered everyone our audience, right? So our goal was more health for more people every day. And I just have to use different tactics to reach different audiences. So if you're living in Manhattan or you're living in Venice Beach or wherever, you'll find our products at Whole Foods or Erewhon or Target or Costco, wherever you shop. But if you're living in the Andes above 14,000 feet and you have a very limited access to food, we're going to reach you through our partnership with Vitamin Angels. And what I liked about that is that it's still the same mission, it's just different tactics. So the way we approach philanthropy is really just a part of our core mission, and that's about serving the community. And for us, everyone is the community, everyone deserves good health. And so I think it makes for a much more seamless integration of sort of mission, the way people used to think about mission-based, which is, oh, I'm going to have a giving partner, or I'm going to have, as opposed to it being kind of core to the company. So that's kind of how it ties into community for us.
And so how do you guys think about growth and community and mission? And, we're at FounderMade, lots of people here are looking to raise money. We talk about growth and 10X and 20X, and look at my numbers, and sometimes fast growth is great. Sometimes growing at a much slower rate is better for your brand, specifically when there's a mission attached to it in community. What are your thoughts on that, guys?
Maybe I could take that about slow growth. My name is Marius. I'm the co-founder of Tracie Martyn, and we pioneered holistic services that actually work. So we created a machine that kind of lifts your face. That's a big promise, holistic services that actually work. What does that say? What does that say about the rest of our industry? So what was, we were really on the bleeding edge. No one really wanted to know about holistic. Everybody just wanted to make sure that they look better and younger. But we believed in it. My partner was a yoga teacher as well as a makeup artist, and I'm a nutritionist. So we were like, no, we need to make sure that everything is safe and holistic. And the products also are all natural with organic ingredients, and no one wanted to hear about that. But in terms of community, it's very interesting because we had it easy, because when you have a spa, you know, you have a lot of customers that start loving you and doing things for you and being generous to you, and you can't help reciprocating that. So there's a lot of love in a community that's small like that, and the question is, how do you grow that and how do you expand that? So the reason I'm so excited right now is because of the digital revolution. Now that love is being transferred on Instagram. So our customers come in, get a facial, buy a product, and post on Instagram. And this user-created content is just spreading like wildfire. And it's creating a buzz, and then it brings more customers in. Now, to your question about growth, how do you take that and you expand it further? I always say there's like two aspects to growing a business. You have to have the love, and then you have to have the money. So, because the love only takes you that far. So the love actually gets you the macro influencers. So we were so lucky we had Kim Kardashian Instagrammed about us, and I actually had to go to my director and said, am I dreaming, or is this really for real? And there's people like that do it, but then what do you do with that? So what I'm here for partly is to raise the money so that I can then have, I love the panel that we had before actually, that we can put this system in place with all the methods that are important to reach the customer. And especially it's important to reach the wellness customer with the right message. So, but you do need the right staff for that, and you need the money to pay the right staff for that. So I feel like growth is important with those two aspects.
I view your question as an equation. So if you have a mission, it has to be authentic. Yeah. And that's usually where, at the very start or the origin of whatever you've created, there was that mission. It's not, how can we sell more of this product, so therefore we're going to support this cause. Sometimes that works, sometimes it backfires. And then I look at community as there's people who love your product. It's that net promoter score, like people who are going out of their way to say, have you tried these vitamins? You know, have you tried this skincare line? Have you tried, like, just the products that are up here on the stage, and really want to shout that at the top of their lungs and convince their friends to use it because the results that it has for them has just proven so solid. And then equals growth. And I think one of the questions that you asked earlier for all of us in the room that are entrepreneurs and that look to actually have your company sold by or acquired by any of the strategics, by and large, the strategics are not creating brands anymore. It just costs too much money. There's a specific brand that we deal in the personal care and hair care space. So there are the big P&G, Unilever, J&J, Clorox that owns Burt's Bees, Colgate Palmolive, and the list goes on. And one of those guys has launched a hair care line 4 years ago. They've spent $650 million on it, and it's getting discoed this year. And it just didn't resonate, right? So now imagine their CFO going, why did we just waste $650 to try to build a mission?
I love how you just say 650.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
$1.20.
Yeah, right? Yeah, oh yeah, 650, you know, and some change. That's not the world we live in. But anyways, it makes a lot of sense from just the equation aspect. You can buy, and I think, and I'll stop, but basically it's one of the things that we think about a lot at Soapbox is we think that we're going to get acquired one day. We hope we get acquired one day. How do we continue to keep our mission, and how do we make sure that we partner with someone that values the mission as much as we do?
Here are a couple of things that I'll just share that we've learned in the process, and we're quite a sizable business now, but we started this in our back house, my husband and I.
Literally, I was there. I saw it.
Jason was there.
There were like dogs running around, like people were working out in like the bathroom. I'm serious.
Super glamorous. No salary for 5 years. Okay. So anyway, listen, there is a lot of money out there right now, and I know that can be hard to hear, particularly if you're just starting out, but there is a lot of money out there in health and wellness. The macro trends, preventative wellness is a macro trend, better for you brands is a macro trend.
Holistic treatments that work.
Holistic that work. So all those things are converging. But here's the thing. if you're coming into health and wellness, the thing I think that matters is efficacy, quality, premium. Those are the things that you really can build a sustainable foundation on, which is different than like raise a bunch of money, really get big fast and sell it. And that can be an intention for sure. But if your intention is really to build something that's got a foundation that's going to endure and will give you the option of maybe selling or continuing to grow it or go public or whatever it might be, you have to be very careful about growing fast. It is hard to do quality at scale, very challenging. There's an advantage of having a ton of SKUs and a lot of products. It allows you to cash flow your business more quickly because you get an opening order. And, sorry, I just saw a friend. Super professional, I know. So it allows you to scale quickly. The downside of that, though, is quality control can go out the window. And if you are in the business of health and wellness, I think it requires some humility. You are interacting with someone in a vulnerable place, a place that creates anxiety for people around being healthy, doing better, looking better. And I think I have seen brands go in with a lot of excitement about the money that's in the market and have made really bad mistakes. So growing fast can be an advantage. In the beginning years, we went slowly. We launched with one SKU on Amazon. And
What year did you launch? It was 2000.
So it was 2011.
Yeah.
Was our very first SKU, and we were on Amazon for a year. Then we launched a second SKU on Amazon in 2012. And then we went into brick and mortar in 2013 into one region of Whole Foods. Now we're in 15,000 doors. We're the fastest growing supplement brand across all channels of retail. But that was because the first 4 years, we really took our time and we listened to what the pain point was, and we really thought about every single thing that made it challenging to do what they were trying to do when it came to supplements. What were the hurdles that got in the way? And when you're trying to grow too fast, you can miss some of those signals. They can be quiet signals. So I would just say, particular in the area of health and wellness, if you want to maintain credibility, which is really what builds community, we weren't spending money on ads. We just had a very robust rank on Amazon, and that rank was driven by buyers who were writing reviews about our products. So that for me is, growth is exciting and it's good, and we're growing super fast, but the first few years we actually were pretty slow. We got a lot of advice to move faster than we were, and I'm really grateful that we didn't actually.
Do you think the category of wellness is unique compared to other categories where being mission-based is almost the must-have?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely. I think in today's day and age with people, I mean, we're all here for a reason. We're trying to treat ourselves by exercise, eating healthier, taking better products. I think that we don't trust the system that's been in place for the last 30, 40 years of treating our bodies with pills. And so that mission has to correlate with your buyer. It has to correlate with the people that work for you. And if you don't have that, you're just another pharmaceutical company, in my opinion, if that's your goal. And for us, our mission coming from a family-based company is to change people's lives and to invite people into the family. And that is so, I can see that in everybody's brand here. And it's an honor to be sitting here amongst these innovators and thought leaders that, look, if it doesn't help you, why am I selling it? And ultimately your product, and it goes back to growth, your product will sell the best if you stick to quality and stick to that all the way through. I know a lot of people want to grow really fast, but there's growing pains in that. Believe me, I know. I'm 6'5". Jason knows. And
I'm a mere 6'3".
And even he had, I mean, we all have these, but I remember I wanted to be a $1 million business right away, and it just doesn't work that way. Like, you know, you gradually grow and you look for money, and you're in these rooms with venture capitalists, and they value your brand at about here when you think it's up here. And, you know, we've all been in these rooms. And I can tell you, you have the option to either put your money into marketing and come up with a great brand, or you put it into quality and let all that stuff catch up. Make the best product that you can. All the other things will take care of it. You'll have a mission, and you'll have people follow you.
I totally agree with that, but also it's, I feel like there's been an incredible evolution actually where really the customers now are demanding that you have a mission. So it's like, we know, and everybody knows like the data about Gen Z and millennials wanting to be more charitable and things of that sort. But I don't really think it's just that generation. I think it's everybody is evolving. And I see our clients, you know, that we used to have some clients, I'm not going to name names, but coming in like with fur coats and like, you know, the whole bling and everything. And now they're coming in their Lululemons and they're like drinking green juices. And I'm like, wow, everybody has arrived. Everybody and their daughter and their granddaughter. So it's definitely happening. So we really just need to match that and then kind of mirror it back and really improve that evolution that's happening already and make it bigger. And the credibility is very important in that. So I agree with Jesse. It's if you create a product that's wellness oriented, but it's not good quality, you're actually hurting the industry.
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing? Too, the other thing is you don't need to be in a lot of doors if your strategy is to build a retail brand, not just online, but offline. You know, investors care about velocity, how quickly or how much repeat customer. It is so much better to be in 10 doors and have crazy demonstration of adoption and reuse than it is to go out and be in 100 doors. Investors care way more about that because it tells them, oh, I can just help them get into other places and it'll grow. So these retailers definitely get that better for you is where the future is. So I think it is table stakes because I think that's where all the growth is. So they want to see the brands that invest in quality. They really do. They believe in those brands, and they think it's critical to their future that they have those brands on shelf.
I think it's also very hard to build a mission-based brand overnight.
Yes.
It takes time.
Can I add something? I think, generally speaking, in the world, I think people no longer want to just buy and acquire without having anything that gives back. People, not only quality, but the reason people gravitate towards mission-based brands is because there is a story, there is a feeling that we are hoping to invoke in them. We want them to feel a certain way or think a certain way, not in a bad way, but to inspire them towards something, a goal that they're trying to achieve, which is what most of the brands, I think, here are doing. And generally speaking, I think this is a worldwide trend across most industries. I don't think it's only in the wellness and health industry, because I can see jewelry brands now speaking about love and caring, and before it was just diamonds, and women love diamonds, and now they're like, love her and give her this. Sure. You see, so it changes. People want emotion, they want to feel, because we live in such a disconnected world sometimes when we're all rushing from one moment to the other. We don't realize that we need to feel more. We need to learn how to realize what we are feeling and then aspire what we want to aspire to feel.
So it sounds like mission is a must-have for consumers. It's a must-have for founders, entrepreneurs. Is it a must-have for the people who write you checks, your investors?
So, yes. No, I'll go a little bit more.
One-word answers are okay.
Right? No, that's the quickest panel ever. So for us, we're backed by family offices that really love the impact that we do. For those who don't know, Soapbox, every time someone buys one of our products, we donate a bar of soap. We work in 65 countries around the world. 50% of our donations actually stay here, local homeless shelters and food pantries. The way that we do one-for-one different is instead of shipping from the States, we actually source from local makers. No one wants to be a soap maker in like northern India, and I pop out of a shipping container with 30,000 bars of soap. I just really ruined your day. I would say that we've had people who say, I don't know if you're going to make it, but I believe in what you're trying to do beyond just getting a return for me. And you know, for me, I was just like, is this investor actually saying those words? Like, that's crazy. But I'd say the other thing is, for any entrepreneur in this room that is on number 1 or number 2, and you're thinking about having a mission a part of your brand, here's some tactical failures that Soapbox learned the hard way. Consumers don't understand percents. They don't. If you say we're donating 5% of revenue, they're like, what does that mean, right? And 5% of revenue is gigantic, right? It could be a lot, but they don't get that. There are certain communities, like 1%, that, hey, there might be some buy-in and some equity behind that. B Corp, we're a B Corp. I know that Smarty Pants is. There's definitely some community aspects of that consumers can recognize as badge value. But the other thing is that people also don't understand, or consumers, we found out, don't understand cents. 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents. It's good for the transparency. You should totally say that, but they don't understand. And the thing that we've seen is that brands that have a mission, the closest you can get to whatever the product is, and if that mission can reinforce in the quality of the product, that's when it hits home. I think a great example, and I'll use someone not on this, is anyone here familiar with the clothing company Everlane? Sure. I love Everlane. And the reason I love Everlane is because their whole mission is radical supply chain transparency. So not only are they saying, look, we're not going to use sweatshop labor, we're going to use this type of cotton, you can basically trace every step going back to the seed of where the actual clothing came from, but it also, in the consumer's mind, is reinforcing the idea that this is an amazing shirt. And the closer you get to the quality of the product being related to the actual mission, the better the mission will drive the company.
And I would add, so a couple things. If you're a premium, this goes back to talking about being high quality, I do think it's important, if you have a giving component, you really want people to buy your product because of your product. That was something we were really clear on when we started. The fact that we make a matching grant for every bottle we sell is an add-on, and it's not something we actually promote in any very active way. It's just a commitment we made, because I'm very clear that if we're the highest price point in our category, people need to buy it because they think it's the best solution for them. And I think you want to understand that relationship very clearly in your mind before you start branding around it, so you're clear in that communication with your customers. But I will say, you do a sentiment analysis in Amazon, and you'll see, at least definitely in our case, they'll give, oh, we love it because of the ingredients they choose. Oh, I love it because it tastes good. And a lot of times they do say, but I love the fact that they have this partnership with Vitamin Angels because it's a cue about our business and the fact that we care. And to your point, it's so closely aligned with our mission that I think it makes a lot of sense to people. But I do think it's important you understand how that plays in.
So this leads to marketing. So what have you guys tried that hasn't worked when trying to market
Sampling.
mission?
The boxes, we're a beauty brand, right? So everyone's always trying to get us to put our samples in their boxes. That doesn't work for us, because I think it's mostly because we are not, we're a new brand, we're a niche brand. We have a different way of addressing people and different way of working, because we work around the concept of a mood rather than your skin is dry and it's dull and it's boring, now put this cream on. We're saying, you know, do you want to feel happy today? So maybe use this cream because it will increase endorphin levels in your skin. It will make you happier. So that doesn't always translate when people don't have enough background information. So for us, the boxes really failed.
Come on, guys. There are things that haven't worked.
I mean, so for our industry and our company, conventional marketing isn't really available. We don't get to do the social media the way that everybody else gets to do it. So I haven't got to learn a lot of the lessons that they've gotten to learn, but I've also been very blessed because we've really found that media, PR, and the stories that we tell really do everything for us. You know, it started with us, you know, we're, like I said, family, so there's 7 of us boys that work together, all brothers, and my mom's here, she's awesome. And, you know, when it started that way, we thought that this would kind of take off in the way that it did. And those that know our story, awesome. Those that don't, check it out. We were featured on CNN by Sanjay Gupta about a story named, a little girl named Charlotte and how our product helped her life, and it's really good. But we were sort of catapulted to the moon without landing gear, because that, you know, millions of people saw that. So we were really blessed in that regard. We're blessed also by MindBodyGreen. Thank you, Jason. I mean, some of these articles and some of the things that people write about our product, those are the avenues that we pursue, have been really beneficial for us. But throwing an ad on Amazon only to have it taken off immediately, Facebook or any of these things, we've experienced those challenges, but I can say from our aspect, community has been the best marketing, and everybody that buys our product talks about it and shares our product. So we're really blessed there. So I can only speak from the blessings of that, not the curses, even though I would love to be able to throw a commercial out there, or, you know, I would love to be able to do a magazine print or some of these things, because a lot of you don't know what our product does, and that's our job to educate you. And we've been so blessed by the marketing of our grassroots campaign, the buyers telling people what our product does.
I think our failures were definitely anytime we mismatched the message with the platform, so not understanding the environment well enough to write the kind of message. We have a lot we like to say, and sometimes we try to say way too much, and that's something that we fail at, which is making sure we're being concise and clear. And so if you think about Amazon as a very product-forward environment, if you put a bunch of brand messages on Amazon, you're not going to get the kind of conversion you might be used to getting in other places. So those are things we had to learn for sure.
It's really hard to say, mistakes, from the spiritual point of view, there are no mistakes. You're supposed to be exactly where you are, and me being here on the panel, it's because I made some mistakes. But, just be careful about, my advice, my humble advice, be careful being on a bleeding edge, because that's what we've done. So no one was interested. I had a document called The Dirty Dozen in 2002, and I gave it to all the editors, and they were just, what is this guy talking about? So, I had the parabens on it, and the phthalates, and the formaldehyde releasing agents, and the whole 9 yards. So that's something. And also, we paid a lot more money for things that are green. So we made our boxes with wind power, and oh my goodness, that really took our EBITDA in a different place, So, just, I'm not saying don't believe in your mission, but maybe just look for the product that is about to, where the consumer is ready, and then you'll be more successful, financially. But I did wait it out, and I'm very excited to now scale it, because people are definitely ready now for what we have. But that's my lesson. Oh, one more thing. Hire only good people. It doesn't matter how smart they are. Because if they want to have their own business, they're not going to work for you. So, go from, not just from your head, but also from your heart. Your intuition will tell you if you're going to hire someone major in your company. You probably know you have a huge company. There's key positions. You got to have good people there.
We have 40 people. We're not that big.
That's twice as much as what we have.
So if mission is table stakes for brands and wellness, how do you cut through the clutter, specifically to marketing, and be authentic to your brand? Press happens, but press, you can't manufacture press. Like sometimes you are blessed, as Jesse was saying, like all of a sudden, boom, huge press, and it happens overnight. But that's not a reality for everyone here. Sometimes you're just slogging away, and and if you have to have a mission-driven brand to even have a brand these days, like where do you go from there? It's not like 10 years ago where like Tom's came out. It's like, oh my God, 1 for 1, or Feed, or like, oh my God, this concept, it's amazing. Then everyone started, was like the Uber for this or that. Everyone started doing that. And then,
but that's why I think you got to know your products. Like you got to know what's special about your product outside, whatever it is you're making outside of just the mission. What is actually special about it? And just stick to your guns. It's okay. It might not happen overnight. We never had like some big press. Oh my God, we just kept...
The big unveil.
We didn't.
These are the new gummies.
Yeah, it was not like that.
People
were like,
gummies,
event. Those things are junk. And we'd be like, yeah, we agree. That's why we made these. You know what I mean? But seriously, we didn't have that. And actually 6 years ago, the press wouldn't write about vitamins at all.
Right.
So there was no press. No one would take an interview. No one. So I think it's more like, know what's special about your product. Be very transparent and communicating with potential customers about what you're about, and let them choose. That's the whole point of brand. The whole point of brand is to be a shorthand so someone can say, oh, I know what these guys stand for, so if they make this, I will take it because I feel good about it. But that means you have to be very clear about what's different about you, and if you do that and you put it in the particular places, people will show up. You will get those brand advocates.
So go ahead.
That's okay.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Pretty much everything Courtney has said, just like +1 me, and I think a lot of that comes down to, so we have a similar mission model to our products, and whereas they went slow and got it right, we went very fast, and we did a lot of things wrong. So I was kind of chuckling, like when Jason was like, "What have you done wrong?" I'm like, "Well, we have 3 hours. Like we can bring out a diagram and like show you how much money we've lost." But like seriously, like we hired a big agency in New York that was going to make a viral video, and I'm pretty sure we have like $89 attributed to that. And you don't want to know how much we spent on it. It was a lot of like really nice cheese plates in marketing meetings up here in New York. But anyways, like it just, I think for us, you guys can do this now. If you go into Amazon and type in Soapbox soaps, you're going to see some of the worst branding you've ever seen. It literally looks like automotive cleaner. And that was my good friend with Photoshop. And we focused on getting the product right, but we just didn't care about the brand because we were just like, people are going to love the product and they're going to love like our mission and they're going to buy it for the mission, but they're going to continue buying it because of the product. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. And we kept on getting more and more distribution because surprisingly, buyers, like when we look at our ecosystem, and like tell me to like wrap it up, like Jason, whenever you're like, you got on too much, soap man. But like we look at our ecosystem of 6 different actors, right? So there's our vendors, there's the press, there's the buyer, right? The gatekeeper at Target, the gatekeeper at Walmart, the gatekeeper at Walgreens, the consumer, which is the most important person in this whole ecosystem, our aid partners, and then our team, right? So I think I said aid partners twice. Replace that with investors. The people who cared the most about the mission were the buyers at the retailers. And this blew our mind. Because, and we didn't understand it until we started just asking buyers, we're like, why are you giving us this gigantic opportunity? And they're like, I just had a meeting with Unilever. We fought over 0.5% for an hour. I really want to do something good with my day. And I want to feel really good about the impact I can do in this couple feet of space in hundreds of thousands of stores. And it clicked, and we were like, oh, got it. What does the consumer care about? And that's where when Courtney was saying before, like, it's product first. You have to solve that need. And if there isn't, and this is the biggest thing, just because you think that a mission is great and that you want people to get behind that doesn't mean anything to the consumer unless the product is solving a need that currently is not solved in the marketplace.
I think for what I learned is we did a lot of trial and error like everyone does. What we learned was that trying to fit ourselves into the traditional box of how everyone does press or how everyone pursues the big editors doesn't work for us because they like the brand, they love it, they find it colorful, it's exciting, it's new, it's unusual, but then they don't know how to translate that onto paper, onto online, onto wherever. So we actually invested a lot of time, effort, and money into PR for the first 2 years, and then now we just removed all of the PR. We stopped PR completely, at least not pursuing the press like we did before, but now we've decided we're going to refocus our resources into focusing on word of mouth and on more on people and how to connect with people who actually love the brand and understand it so that they can talk about it to the rest of their friends and family and influence their circles instead of trying to get this huge editor in this huge magazine to write put a tiny icon-sized picture of my product on the page and say, see, I put it there. And you just put that and you put the price and you tell me that this is going to get me sales or this is going to give me great awareness. When I'm not a Chanel, I'm not a Dior, I'm not a Gucci, so nobody sees the product and immediately thinks, oh, I know what this brand is about. It's about color therapy, it's about gemstones, it's about this. They don't understand that. They just see a picture of something that is colorful, a tube, and they think, oh, pretty, and then they flip the page. So my advice is to look for how your brand or your product can be spoken about in a different way from people who genuinely care, not from the conventional, usual press, because it doesn't work anymore for smaller brands. It works for the huge brands because they invest tons of money, but we can't invest that much money.
I actually just want to add something to this because I went to another big summit and they were actually talking about the big strategic companies putting all their money into influencer marketing instead of normal advertising. So it's even for the bigger brands, it shifted immensely. And that's why it's all about it's about the micro-influencers in terms of the marketing. And whether you have a mission or not, it's really, you need to get the voices out there. And you need to be loud enough and print. I mean, we had print that generated $1 million. We had a $1 million People magazine article. God bless their heart. I love them. But it's not going to happen again. And we
they'll charge you next time. Just.
And I would be careful with celebrity. I think that is an important point, just to know your particular category, because sometimes it can be really additive. In our category, actually not. We've been approached many times and have consciously said no, because it can create more problems than it solves. It doesn't mean that's not a great thing. We just got to make sure it's really good for the category you're in, and that it's a very tight match to what you're doing and what they stand for. Not who they are as people. They might be amazing, but how does the culture view them? It's a really important exercise, and we've certainly seen people end up misaligned and regretting that choice.
Well, in pairing up, I want to get back to cause. You've got a cause as a brand, and you've got a brand. How do you think about making that marriage work and making sure you're married to the right cause?
I talked about this one already. For us, that was a big deal that it was the same. To me, someone gave me that advice. It was actually, to give him credit, Simon Mainwaring, who's a brilliant thinker about mission and branded impact and all that. He was like the big Nike brand creator. Anyway, he said that. Well, I stood up at a thing and said, I don't know how to do this because I've got this mission, which is Smarty Pants, which is trying to bring better health and ingredients to this vitamin aisle. And then I have Vitamin Angels in our partnership. And he said, you're missing it. It's all the same mission. Those are just different expressions of that mission. That, I think, is how you do it elegantly. You find, to your point, David, about it's trying to find if you can, a cause that's very aligned. And the last plug that I will give, which is not happening in the health and wellness aisle, the way it should, which is environmental impact. And I was so happy to hear that. But we're going to 100% non-virgin plastic in everything that we make. And I think that's a critically important step. It does not happen in our aisle at all. And I think that's something we try to get, if we can get everybody also thinking about as we develop sort of the health of the world that all those bodies are relying on is important. That's a random plug for the planet. Go planet.
Good.
Yeah.
I think values of the brand are what drive your direction to the cause. So for us, my personal values are the environment should not suffer because I want to look pretty. So I made sure that all of our products, the packaging is recyclable or reusable if it's glass or porcelain. If it's paper, then it supports the World Land Trust, which supports preserving indigenous lands around the world. So we just made sure that everything. And I drove everyone mad when I was kept insisting that, no, this has to be recyclable.
Right? It's hard to find.
It's really hard to find recyclable packaging that actually looks beautiful. It usually looks extremely ugly. And so I drove them all mad when we were in development, and they were all trying to, change my mind. But this acrylic jar is beautiful. I said yes, and I don't want it to sit there millions of years later like a fossil. So I think it's about because we are all founders, so it's all about what you value and infusing that value into your brand because it's an extension of yourself.
So my last question, which everyone has to answer, unfortunately, what keeps you up at night and what has you excited in the morning? We'll start with Jesse at the end.
Man, what keeps me up at night? Golly. That's loaded. How to be better, I think, keeps me up at night. How we can do things better, the best. Be a good example. Whenever you have stones thrown at you from all different ways, whether it's, three-letter words that represent organizations or, just friends and family, whatever it might be, just how to be better probably keeps me up at night. And then what was the second part of that?
What has you excited in the morning?
What has me excited in the morning is that
Sometimes it's reversed, depending on your disposition.
What has me excited in the morning is that we are making the world a better place. Everybody here, all these brands here, we're game changers, we're innovators, we're thought leaders. I know at CW Hemp, I'm surrounded by my brothers who are that way. Started with 7, we're 190 now. Every single one of them are thought leaders. And I would challenge everybody else out here to just do the same thing. Make the world better than whenever you came. So,
Amen. Yes. So what I think Jesse said it best. Every night I go to bed, and somehow my to-do list got longer than what I was able to actually cross off. And I've like tried to like do every like work hack out there, but yet there's this consistent drive, and I think there's a grit, especially with Soapbox, because it has not been a hockey stick for us. It's how we can be better in every way. How we can treat our aid partners with that servant mentality, because we are definitely not a savior. We are there to serve. How we can create better products that are more affordable for our consumers. How we can create a brand that people are shouting at the top of their lungs to share with their friends because it solved something with their skin or with a look that they're looking for, a need state with their hair. The thing that I'm most excited about, I like to make fun of myself. I like to make fun of all the things that we've gone through, and I hope that shares as an example for the things to avoid, and that there can be some tactical learnings that I've shared. But we launched a new brand in September. To be even more real, we had a full-blown acquisition offer in August. We turned it down because we kept on getting feedback on the new branding and how well, there's no NDA in place, I could say that. But it was amazing, and it was liberating to say like no, because we kept on getting feedback that the results would do that well. It's now November. Some of our SKUs have increased by 1,140% in terms of sell-through, which either means they were selling nothing and now we're selling a little, or it actually means that like there's some serious growth. So the thing I'm most excited about is we fought. We had an out, we said no, and we continue to fight.
I'm going to do blatant advertising. What makes me sleep at night, actually you said the other way around, but I'm going to say it this way, is we have a fantastic oud and sapphire foot cream. It is so amazing, and it completely relaxes me at night.
It's so good you can't sleep?
It's really good to sleep. No, to put me to sleep. I'm not gonna address what doesn't make me sleep. I'm going to address what makes me sleep. And then what picks me up in the morning, lets me get up in the morning, is our exciting citrine and bergamot shower gel, which is fantastic.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Can I
Blatant
re-answer?
advertising.
All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Amazing, amazing. I'm feeling very tempted. So we have a trademark called Pure Evolution, and you are asking about marketing, so we got the Instagram account on the T-shirt, talking about blatant. But it is really a revolution is happening, and what keeps me up at night is that I want to be part of this revolution, and I want to change everything, and I want everybody to be healthier, and I'm really thinking all the time about the highest good. And what gets me up in the morning and excited is how to implement those ideas and make it happen within our own company. And if we make it really big, then I'm going to take a big chunk or the majority of the money and put it in cancer research, because it's 1 in 3 people, and that has to go. We don't want to manage these diseases anymore. We want to cure them. So there you go.
And Courtney, you're the last one.
My
Sorry,
quick one is, that's okay. I just love what Jesse said. I think it's a pretty profound shift in the culture, this idea from perfect to getting better, and that's exactly how we talk about it at our company, which is, it always made me mad when I would walk down the aisle and something said, the perfect multi or whatever, and I'm just like, you are lying to me. Like, I know you're lying to me if that's what you called it, because nothing's perfect. I think it's it really is an honorable thing to just try to get better, and all the great stuff that's happened in the world have been small increments added up together. That's how athletes think. That's how really successful companies, it's not one big sort of thing. Anyway, so what really keeps me up at night, though, frankly, is the state of the environment, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I'm a parent, and frankly, that's really what keeps me up at night, that we all have to do some very big things right now together as industry leaders and thought leaders and all of that to care enough to make changes in how we do business. I think it's absolutely baseline. There are lots of disease. If the planet doesn't work, there's no people here to worry about disease. So for me, that's what keeps me up at night. What gets me excited is that we're living in a place where people care about better. People actually care about doing better, being better, honoring each other, trying to make better things. I think it's it's a very happy thing to focus on, given some of the other things going on in the world. So lucky to be a part of it.
Amen to that. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
A big round of applause for Jason Wachob of MindBodyGreen, Courtney Nichols Gould of Smarty Pants, Marius Morariu, I know I'm not saying your last name right, of Tracie Martyn, Sheikha Fatima Sabah of Prismologie, David Simnick of Soapbox, and Stanley of CW Hemp.